She told me I was a good man, just not a good investment. That was the last thing she said before closing the door behind her. 6 years, gone with a shrug and a suitcase. She didn't cry. She didn't even hesitate. She looked me dead in the eye and walked out. She had a new man. Richer, slicker, a visionary, she said. Someone who saw her potential. What she didn't know was who saw his. My name's Aaron. I'm not flashy. I don't wear watches that cost more than rent. But I build things, quietly, thoroughly. I don't post it on Instagram, and I don't tell people what I'm backing. But I was backing him, the guy she left me for. She had no idea. We met on a dating app. She was clever, sharp, dangerous in a way that felt thrilling at first and exhausting later. She liked control, not in a crazy way, in a calculated way. I didn't mind. I thought it was ambition. Maybe it was. We moved in together after a year. Split groceries, took turns folding laundry. We were stable, maybe too stable for her. She started making little comments. About my car, my job, my shoes. She never said she was unhappy, but the silence between her sentences got louder. Then Lucas showed up. Lucas Vaughn, the guy with the jawline and the venture capital smile. He ran a media tech company for influencer brand matchmaking. He called it the future of digital identity. Whatever. I knew Lucas. We pitched to the same investors back in the day. I got funding. He didn't. We weren't exactly friends. But he made it eventually. New investors, flashy branding, viral success. And I helped, quietly. Through a shell company, I funded part of his expansion round. He never knew. Kelly sure as hell didn't. But she fell for him fast. Started staying late at networking events, changed her passwords, wore new perfume. Started saying things like, I need someone who matches my energy. One night I saw her phone light up with a message from him. I didn't read it. I didn't have to. She didn't deny anything. She just told me he was better for her trajectory. Then she left. She didn't know that Lucas's company was tied to mine, that the product she was so proud of had my fingerprints on every line of code. I waited. 2 months later, she updated her job title on LinkedIn. Director of Brand Strategy. LuxyLink Media, Lucas's company. I made a few calls, shifted some capital. Bought out the board, acquired controlling interest. 50-7%, enough to make decisions. And my first decision was to call a meeting. She walked in like she owned the floor. Perfect makeup, perfect heels. The moment she saw me at the head of the table, her face cracked. Not fully, just enough. I greeted her like nothing happened. Told her I admired her portfolio. Said we needed to align our goals. She tried to play professional, cold. But I saw the twitch in her eye. She knew exactly what was happening. And then I handed her a folder. Her new responsibilities. Tasks that meant nothing. Reports on obsolete data. Fake campaigns. Busy work designed to humiliate someone who once thought she'd climb the ladder. She didn't quit. Not right away. She came in every day, sat under the new security cameras. Pretended to work. Tried to smile. Waited for a lifeline that never came. And then I uploaded the footage. A highlight reel of her contributions, arguing with her monitor, taking selfies, eating during Zoom calls. The caption read, "Smart and loyal? Check for yourself." It went viral overnight. She was gone the next day, resigned by email, vanished. She never saw it coming. She thought I was the guy you walk over on the way up. But some of us, we don't yell. We don't beg. We just buy the building. I didn't celebrate when she quit, didn't smile, didn't gloat. I just marked the email as read and went back to work. Some people thought I went too far. That I should have just let it go. But people like Kelly, they don't learn from mercy. They learn from mirrors. The video wasn't revenge. It was a reflection. A little time capsule of who she really was when no one was watching, except now. Everyone was. My inbox exploded the next day. Some congratulated me. Others called me a psychopath. Lucas didn't say anything at all. He was the next domino. See, Kelly was just the face. The image. Lucas was the one running the numbers. Badly. When I bought in, I didn't just get voting rights. I got access to everything. Client files, ad revenue reports, internal memos, private Slack threads. I didn't need to leak anything. I just started asking questions in public meetings. Why were we inflating engagement rates? Why was Kelly paid more than senior team leads? Why were the company's profits being funneled into a shell firm registered in Nevada under Lucas's cousin's name? Lucas cracked faster than I expected. He tried to charm his way out. Like always. Said it was common practice, so said I didn't understand how modern media worked. I let him talk. Gave him the rope. And then I handed the board my audit. 3 weeks later, he was out. No lawsuit, no press statement. Just gone. Kelly reached out once after that. Sent a text. Oh, was this all about me? I didn't answer. Because honestly, it wasn't. It started with her. Sure. But by the end, it was about something else entirely. Power. And what people do when they think you don't have any. She thought I was harmless. Lucas thought I was invisible. They both thought quiet meant weak. They were wrong. I didn't just want to win. I wanted to change the rules of the game. And now, I own the board. I started getting interview requests. Podcasts, blogs, even a few TV spots. They called it the most elegant corporate revenge of the year. I turned them all down. This wasn't a victory lap. It was cleanup. I restructured the company. Cut the fluff. Ended fake partnerships. Brought in real talent. Within 6 months. We were profitable without the smoke and mirrors. But that's not the part people ask about. They ask if I still think about her. And the answer is, yes. But not the way they think. I don't replay the night she left. I don't wonder if she regrets it. I think about the smaller moments. The first time she made me coffee, just the way I like it. The way she used to put her hand on my chest when she wanted to win an argument. I think about how love can blur into convenience. How someone can be close to you every day and still be a stranger. After the dust settled, I found an old photo of us. We were on a hike. She was smiling at something off camera. I almost deleted it, but didn't. Not because I missed her. But because it reminded me of who I was when I still thought love was supposed to hurt a little. It's not. That was the last lesson she gave me. And Lucas, he started a new company. Of course, selling NFT perfume or some other nonsense. He tried reaching out through a lawyer. Said I'd violated his privacy. I replied with one sentence. You signed the NDA. Haven't heard from him since. I know how this all sounds. Petty, cold, maybe even cruel. But here's the truth. I spent years thinking silence made me noble. Thinking that letting people walk all over me made me strong. It doesn't. Strength isn't about how much you can endure. It's about when you finally say, enough. I didn't destroy them. I just stopped protecting them. And when you stop protecting people who use you, they tend to fall on their own. 3 months after Lucas disappeared from the company, I got an email. Private. No subject line. Just a name in the sender field I hadn't seen in almost a year. Kelly. I stared at it for a long time before opening it. She wasn't begging. She wasn't apologizing. She wanted to meet. She wrote, no agenda, just coffee. You deserve more than silence. I didn't answer right away. I let it sit. A week, then 2. Then, I said yes. We met in a quiet cafe on the west side, the kind without Wi-Fi, where people still stir their cream slowly and pretend they're thinking about life. She was already there when I walked in. Hair different, less polished, less sharp. She stood up like she wasn't sure if she should hug me or just nod. We nodded. For a moment, it felt like time had folded over itself. Same table, same woman. But everything underneath had shifted. She got straight to it. I didn't know he was connected to you. I swear. I believed her. That part at least. She looked tired. Not just physically. The kind of tired that lives in your spine when you've been pretending too long. You were always 5 steps ahead of me, she said. I smiled just a little. You were always trying to race me, I replied. She laughed. But it wasn't warm. It was sad, like she finally understood something too late. She asked why I didn't fire her right away. I told her the truth. Because you needed to feel it. The job, the emptiness, the way it feels when the thing you wanted most turns out to be a mirror. She went quiet. Then she asked something that caught me off guard. Did you ever really love me? And I said, of course I did. That was the problem. She didn't cry. Neither did I. We talked for 20 more minutes. About nothing important. Like two people waiting for a train they both know won't arrive. When I left, she stayed seated. I didn't look back. That was the last time I saw her. Sometimes people break you clean. Sometimes they break you slow. She was the slow kind. And I didn't notice I was bleeding until it was too late. But the cut healed. Not perfectly, but enough. And I learned something she probably still hasn't. When someone walks away thinking they won, make sure they remember you were the one who opened the door. A few weeks after that cafe meeting, I got a call from HR. One of our new interns, bright, driven, early 20s, had quit suddenly. Left a note. Said the workplace culture felt hostile, not aggressive, just cold. At first I brushed it off. Then another person left. And then another. By month's end, we had 5 resignations, all from people under 30. All citing the same thing. It feels like no one here trusts each other. I sat with that for a while. Because the truth was, they were right. I'd built walls, tall ones. Walls that kept me safe but kept everyone else out. After Kelly and Lucas, I didn't want connection. I wanted control. And it showed. I wasn't a monster. I was efficient, unforgiving, focused. And people admired that until they had to work under it. One of the senior managers, Jen Sharp, no nonsense, pulled me aside. Hey, Tesoro, you've won, all right? You beat them. You're on top. But no one wants to stay at a company that feels like a chessboard. That hit harder than I expected. Because I realized I'd become what I used to resent, a person who kept score. Not to compete, but to protect. So I made a decision. We shut down for 2 days. Full stop. No emails. No meetings. Just people. In a room, talking. I told them everything. The whole story. From the beginning. There were awkward silences. A few stunned expressions. One person actually said, wait, you were the investor? But something shifted. Not because I told them my story, but because I finally let them see me. Not the strategist. Not the operator. Just a guy who got hurt and didn't want to get hurt again. After that, things changed. Not overnight. But slowly. People stopped whispering in the halls. Meetings had laughter again. Someone brought a dog to work one Friday and nobody said a word. We were human again. And me, I stopped checking Kelly's LinkedIn. Stopped watching Lucas's weird crypto interviews. Stopped trying to prove I was right. Because I was finally busy building something that didn't need revenge to stand tall. Something that could breathe. 6 months later, I got invited to speak at a leadership summit in Chicago. The theme was resilience. Not exactly my favorite buzzword, usually code for we're going to overwork you until you break, then call you a hero. But this one felt different. They didn't want a TED Talk. They wanted a story. So I gave them one. I stood on that stage looking out at 300 strangers, and I told them everything. How I built a company with the woman I loved. How she left me for the man I unknowingly funded. How I didn't fire her. I filmed her. How I let it all fall apart so I could start again. There was a long pause when I finished. Then someone from the audience asked, if you could go back, would you do it differently? And for once, I didn't lie to protect myself. I said, no, but I wish I'd healed faster. Hurt people build walls. Whole people build doors. There was silence. Then applause. Not the polite kind, the kind that means, We've all been there. Afterward, a man came up to me, mid-50s, tie askew, wedding ring off. He said, "My wife left me for my best friend, took my kids. I haven't spoken about it in 2 years. You just did it into a microphone." I shook his hand. Saeed, comma. Then you know surviving isn't the hard part. It's what comes after. We didn't exchange numbers. Didn't need to dot. Some pain doesn't need a sequel. Just recognition. I flew back that night with a strange sense of peace, not closure. That's a myth, but peace the kind that comes when the storm finally runs out of fuel. Back at the office, there was a sticky note on my door. It said, "Welcome back. You missed Taco Day. We saved you none. Leadership is sacrifice." I laughed, out loud. Not the hollow kind, the real kind, the kind that says, "I'm still here." And for the first time in a long time, that felt like enough. 2 months later, something strange happened. I was going through quarterly reports, half listening to a podcast in the background, when I heard a name I hadn't heard in a while. Lucas. Apparently, he was launching a tech-forward luxury experience platform, whatever that means, and trying to raise funding. But here's the kicker. He listed me as one of his early partners. My phone blew up. Investors, journalists, even old friends, all asking, "You're backing this guy again?" I wasn't angry. I was fascinated. Because it takes a special kind of arrogance to steal your investor's girlfriend, lose the company they funded, and then try to trade on their name like none of it ever happened. I could have sued him, cease and desist, make it ugly. Instead, I asked my legal team for a list of everything he'd violated by invoking my name without permission. It was long. Rather than go nuclear, I did something better. I had my PR team write a simple, factual post. No drama, no insults, no hashtags. Just this. Contrary to public claims, I am not affiliated in any way with the new venture being promoted by Lucas R. I wish him well, but any use of my name or likeness was unauthorized and misleading. Transparency matters. It went viral in under 3 hours. Not because it was juicy, but because it was clean. The comments were brutal. Screenshots. Memes. Someone even made a remix video of Lucas pitching his startup over elevator music, with the words "fraudulent energy" flashing across the screen. I didn't post anything else, didn't need to. The damage was done, by his own hand. I got a text the next day from Kelly. All it said was, "He finally imploded." You were right. I didn't respond. Because I wasn't right, I was just patient. And sometimes, that's enough. People always want to know how it feels to watch someone who hurt you crumble in public. And honestly, it doesn't feel like victory. It feels like release. Like you've been holding your breath for years, and suddenly you remember how to breathe again. A year after it all began, I found myself standing in front of a small crowd. Not an audience. Not employees. Not shareholders. Family. My younger sister had just opened her first bookstore cafe, something she'd dreamed about since college. And she'd asked me to give a little speech. Not because I'm eloquent. But because, as she put it, you've already survived public betrayal. What's a few cupcakes and folding chairs? So I stood there, looking at people who knew me before any of this, before the money, before the company, before Kelly. And I talked. Not about strategy. Not about revenge. Not even about business. I talked about failure. About being gutted by someone you trusted. About learning to live with it instead of letting it rot you from the inside. I said, success doesn't fix betrayal. Time doesn't either. The only thing that heals it is building something that no one can take away. Afterward, my dad hugged me. First time in years he'd done that without looking like he regretted it. He said, "Proud of how you stood back up." And I realized, that's all I ever wanted. Not to be applauded. Not to be feared. Just seen. Later that night, after everyone left, I sat alone in the cafe, lights dimmed, music off. Just the smell of books and cinnamon and spilled hope. I thought about reaching out to Kelly. Not to reconnect. Just to say, "I'm okay. Are you?" but I didn't. Because some chapters don't need a sequel. They just need a period. Here's what I've learned. Sometimes the person you trusted most will cut you the deepest. Sometimes the revenge you dream about won't come the way you planned. And sometimes the best ending is no revenge at all. Just peace. And maybe if you're lucky, a really good cup of coffee in a place where nobody knows your name, but they smile when you walk in. Thanks for listening. If this story made you feel something, anger, sadness, hope, leave a comment. Tell me your story. Or just say you're still standing. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. There's more where this came from.